OG Maco, welcome back.
What's happening?
It's been a minute.
Long hair and everything now, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think my head was shaved before or something.
Yeah, your shit was shaved. I had blonde hair.
You had blonde hair, now you got dreads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Switch it up for the kids.
Oh yeah. Everyone kind of copied your style in a way.
Everybody copied my style, definitely. Not in a way. I think that's the funniest part. Everybody trying to act like it's like all subtle and shit. I don't know why, but everybody definitely became OG Mac. But it's whatever though.
Man, how'd you feel when everyone started doing that thing?
I would have felt a lot better if people act like I was stupid and didn't realize that that's what was going on, or if they didn't try to like downplay it, like, you know, everybody wasn't taking different parts of what I had made, and then especially with everybody knowing that when I did it, that was corny and I was lame, and look at this clown with the yellow hair, and look at him in his weird pants, and now that's all y'all want, you know. So, and if you look at every interview from back then, I told everybody that y'all gonna be on this shit in like a year anyway, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And now everybody don't want to go back and watch those interviews. Nobody want to watch those interviews.
Then you had to switch your shit up.
So I switched it all the way up, you know, and you'll watch and it'll be like another year, and then everybody will do what I'm doing right now. No matter how relevant or whatever people want to try and make it seem, which is the stupidest word ever, relevance, it's obvious as fuck. So.
Hey, you're a trendsetter, man. It is what it is.
Hey, man, it is what it is.
So you walked in, and I'm looking for the eye patch.
And I'm too odd.
And you do know how to have an eye patch.
It's
Both
in my
your
bag.
eyes look regular.
Yeah. Look
You know,
great,
you're
right?
not all, Fetty Wap on me right now.
Yeah. I fucked up your questions, right?
I had a set of questions around it.
Nah, we all good. It's money. Everybody forget about one thing. You know, no matter what happened to you, it depends on how much money you got, how well it goes after that, right?
Okay.
Money.
All right, so was there a car accident?
Yeah.
There was a car accident.
Yeah, everything happened. There's still surgical scars and shit in my eye. You know, if you look at it, it's all right there. But I mean, what happened was I had the eye patch on, and you know everything was healing. I was really worried because my surgeon was terrified about it getting infected.
Yeah.
With all the people I'm around, and, I was still doing shows and still going to studios and shit. He was like, "Yo, you cannot do that. If it get infected, like we have to pop that shit back out and do it again." I did not want that to happen. So.
Well, explain the whole situation. Like, what exactly happened in the car accident?
All right, well, basically, we got fucked up. I'm gonna keep it like real simple. We got fucked up.
Okay.
And when you get fucked up, the person that's supposed to drive was not driving. So you put a young, inexperienced guy driving, and you put him in a bad situation in the middle of the night with drunk people and loud noises and hella complaints, and somebody hit us. It wasn't like a terrible fuck. I don't know why they made it like a death-defying. At first it was like a fatal accident or some shit. Who the fuck died? Nobody died. You know what I'm saying? But it was a bad little wreck, and I hit my face on the fucking hard part of the dashboard, and it crushed this part under my face. So it wasn't really my eye. The story that came out was like that my eye was destroyed, and that wasn't what was true. The orbital here and the bones here were fucked.
So you cracked your skull, essentially.
Yeah, so my eye dropped.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying?
Like it actually came out your
No, it didn't come out. It dropped down.
Oh, okay.
Into my face.
Into your face.
So your eye can drop out or it can drop down, and my eye dropped down. So what people were seeing, they seen the pictures was actually like the top and under part of my eye. You know what I'm saying? So they had to go in through my face and then like add some shit here. Like this isn't real. They added some shit in there.
What is it?
I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like
it's something.
It's fucking surgical magic. I don't know what the fuck it is, you know what I'm saying? And they boosted my eye back up, and during that time it was a fuckload of swelling, and because they had to go in through my eye here, it was all of this was exposed. So the end part of my eye all the way down here was all exposed, and that's why I had to wear the patch and stuff, because any like dust or anything blowing in there would got infected.
Okay, so you're fucked up.
Yeah.
Were you wearing a seatbelt?
No.
I just want to say, I'm glad you made it, but for example, Shorty Low didn't make it.
Right. R.I.P. Low.
R.I.P. Shorty Low. I just want to tell, because a lot of young people are watching this. Yeah. Please take what happened.
Please
wear
your
your
seatbelt.
seatbelts.
And for real, I'm gonna be even realer than that. Like, especially like in LA or party cities, and especially with like the culture and shit that's going on. Like, it's really important to have a designated driver, and it's really, really important to just be aware of your surroundings, your situations, because you can never really plan for anything bad happening to you that's just random like that. And you never know how good or how bad it can go. I could have just as easily like lost a fucking eye just as easily as I got to keep it,
Right. But if you wore your seatbelt, you'd probably be
I probably
okay.
would have had shit wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
I would have been good to go. But
right, because there's airbags, all that
all
other
sorts
shit.
of good shit.
Yeah.
So I really want the kids to not think I'm taking it lightly or nothing like that, but at the same time, be aware that anything can happen to anybody, and it can go bad. I hope my nigga Quentin Miller, Western Will, he just lost a fucking leg.
Lost a leg. What was that from?
A car accident.
Oh, that was a car accident too?
Yeah, it was a car accident.
Oh, wow.
So I want the kids to realize this is happening, shit ain't sweet out here.
Nah, like I said, Shorty Low is dead right now.
Yeah, man.
And with 11 children who now have to grow up
and
without
figure it out.
Yeah,
it's crazy too, man. Shorty Low, when I was a kid, Low, just to show you just what kind of legend Low was, you know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, everybody have a prom, you know what I'm saying? And for the only prom I actually ended up making it to, Shorty Low was actually the one that came and done the performances and shit. I remember he had that big ass Super Mario chain, and just like niggas, somebody stole his cell phone or some shit.
I interviewed him at his house actually, like in 2010.
Yeah.
Real good.
Actually was the year I graduated. So that was that
was right around that time.
Right around that time.
It's like he didn't know me, but he invited me into his home, and you know what I mean? Like we hung out. It was a D4L little studio thing in the back. All his people were there. Real nice guy, man.
Great guy, dog. I ain't gonna lie, man. They heard everybody in Atlanta. That was like Atlanta taking losses. We just lost Fresh, you know what I'm saying, and then just lost Low. It's
sad, man.
At least we got
sad.
WAP back, but shit.
Yeah, Gucci home. So, do you even remember the car accident, or do you just remember waking up like, fucked up?
No, I remember like little flashes and everything. But I mean, one you gotta understand, it was like fucked up. Okay. So I mean, even when I took the little picture, I was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I was still smiling, because it was I had my homegirl with me and she was making me laugh and shit. You know what I'm saying? And so she's like, what you doing? I was like, yeah, fuck this shit. And, I done a little picture real quick.
Well, I mean, right where you're sitting, I'd interviewed the DOC a while back, and same situation. He was drunk, fucked up, driving. The police actually pulled him over and took photos with him and let him go, and then he ended up basically falling asleep behind the wheel, hitting a tree, going through the windshield, and fucking up his vocal cords permanently. Right after his first album came out, and he had just, I think, signed off his publishing and stuff like that. So, man, life is fragile.
It is, man.
You gotta be careful.
It's super fragile, dog. You gotta be careful.
So, you wake up, you're in the hospital. They do the surgery on your eye. They put the eye patch on you.
Well, they put a fucking gauze, terrible thing on me. It had a bunch of blood on it and shit. And then they gave me some flimsy ass patch. I think it might have been like the picture I took with the first patch. It was fucking terrible. And so I found this guy in Canada who done like custom leather work. And
make yourself a fly eye patch.
I still got it. I mean, I still had a patch,
Yeah, well, it's in your bag right now?
It's in my bag. I can't get up, but
yeah, I'll grab it.
You grab my bag for me. I still got it, but what I found out was the reason I ended up taking it off, the patch protected my eye for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's thick. It's not like a little flimsy fucker there, And so I had been wearing the patch so long that my eye had actually healed. Mm-hmm. And my retina and stuff wasn't, adjusted to like bright lights and shit anymore. So I was having like crazy ass double vision. I was talking to my surgeon and we thought I was going to get like, a bunch of more surgeries and shit, try and correct it and shit. And turns out I just took the patch off and just went through it, like the pain of the light adjusting and that kind of shit. And next thing you know, I woke up, it's actually felt like a week ago, I woke up, 2 weeks now, I woke up and fucking I was working, so.
So, I mean, are you still in pain at all, or?
After, it get fatigued, you know what I'm saying? Like, it take like the end of the day though. Like maybe like, it'll probably take like 2 in the morning. And then I'll do this, like, and it just.
Get that lazy eye.
It'll come back like I don't have, I don't have it.
Eye,
yeah, and I just have to like close it for a little while or I switch eyes or some shit. But to be able to still have like 20/20 out of it, I didn't lose any vision. I didn't stop worrying. No, it's fully functional.
That's what's up.
To have everything is like a fucking blessing.
All right, well, man, take an Uber next time.
Yeah, man. You're tired of fucking Uber, dog.
Well, it's better than the alternative, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Driving drunk.
Crazy, my girlfriend just got in a fucking a car accident. Weird enough, but hers turned out way better than mine. She got a new whip, so.
She's okay?
Oh, she's perfectly fine. She's got a new whip.
Because she smashed up her old one?
Yeah, man, yeah, so.
Now, we had interviewed Quentin Miller.
Yeah.
Did you see the interview?
I seen Quentin interview.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, he talked about
that other rapper from Atlanta that, you know, did interviews about me talking about how we're friends and shit. He's the one that really said my name. You know, I called him about that, and, you know, his explanation was crazy. Needless to say, we don't have anything to do with each other anymore. I'm not even gonna say his name, but he's a part of it too. Like, that was really what was frustrating to me, because it's like he's the one that like put my name out there in the stratosphere.
That's not true. I didn't basically put it out.
No?
But what really actually happened was, and if you look at the situation, which is so crazy, because I'm like this fucking scapegoat for everybody doing pussy ass shit, you know, so whatever. But what really happened was Meek was already tweeting about it, the whole situation. Now, I call Quentin my friend. Quentin don't call me his friend, which is fine with me. I don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? But like, what happened was I got up. I was sitting there and I got up and I'm seeing like Meek and O'Malley and you know, the managers like talking about this shit. And it was like, you know, what's up boy name, Miller, Quentin, he's like, Quentin, and me being a friend of this person, you know, I'm like, yo, finally somebody's giving my nigga the recognition, because I've been, and Quentin can lie about it all he want, but I called a nigga the day, if you're reading this, it's too late, came out. I called him the morning it came out, because I was listening to the tracks, and I'm like writing down numbers of each number track. Like, no, it has to be Quentin. Like, it gotta be him.
So you just heard Quentin's flow.
I heard his flow. I didn't even have to ask him. I heard his flow, and I'm like, bro, that's Quentin all day. I'm knowing that's him because he was with OGG before. He ever went over there. We was all in the house making shit. You know what I'm saying? So I know what it sound like when he doing some shit.
Wow.
Two, we all kind of made a style together on top of it. So certain cadences and shit like is our shit. I'm knowing it as soon as I hear it. And I called him. I was like, bruh, you definitely wrote this shit. And he trying to deny
you
this
cracked
shit. He
your
was
skull,
like,
essentially.
yeah. You know, he laughing and shit. It's all funny games right
So
there.
even on the phone with you, he was still denying it.
He was still trying to act like he was denying it, you know what I'm saying? But it was like one of those plausible denials. Like, I'm denying it because obviously I signed some shit somewhere. Right. And so in that situation,
but his name is on the credits.
On the credits.
So you don't have to deny it.
You don't have to deny shit because your name is on the credits, which
Right.
is what most people are too fucking stupid to look at on top of it. But when the whole thing with Meek happened, they called me.
They called you.
They called me. So they called me and they was like, yo, don't you know Blood? And I was like, yeah, I know Blood. That's fucking Quentin. You know, it's Quentin Miller. He's been over here with us this whole time. You know, I'm just happy like at least somebody trying to give the man some credit for all this hard work he been putting in. Because he was out here slaving in L.A. You know what I'm saying? Like, really to make it happen. And he was. I mean, I'm going to keep it 1,000 too. He was ignoring niggas and acting funny and shit. But all these niggas do that because they lame. So I don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about people doing that. If I just know where your head at, if I know the fame should eat you up or something like that because that's the kind of person you are, I don't really count it against you. It just is what it is. I know you're never going to stand up for yourself either, though. So that was never my problem. My problem came in when after, you know, Meek dropped it and and all my statements was just pointing toward, hey, man, this is a guy I support. I just want him to finally get the credit he deserved, that you go around and try and throw me under the bus because you want to be a bitch-ass nigga. Like, if you want to be a bitch-ass nigga, you be a bitch-ass nigga. But don't try and make it seem like I tried to throw you in a whole-ass situation because nobody told you to write an apology letter. Nobody told you to try and disavow all the hard work you did. All I wanted you to get the recognition for is you could finally have a career because I have enjoyed your music. I enjoy seeing you do what you do. And I want to see you on a higher platform.
Yeah, Quentin's dope.
Quentin's dope.
Yeah.
But to go and decide to be a whole bitch and then try and blame it on me, that's lame as fuck. And that's why you see all this passive-ass confrontation. If you got an issue with me, my nigga, I'm right here. You feel me? But otherwise, you have to go in these interviews and, like, hint at my name and shit. Like, bro, say my name. And then I ain't Meek. I ain't gonna run up on you. You feel me? I ain't gonna send nobody at you. I'll run up on you myself if that's what it is. But otherwise, cut the crap, bro. Use pussy for a couple seconds. And now look at what it did. I told him on the phone that same night. It's also what you're not saying. I told him that same night. You do realize if you play this situation pussy, you still gonna lose because we'll get rid of you. Like, so the best thing you can do is be real and just stand up and be like, yo, bro, I did this and I did this. I didn't do that, but I did do this. Mm-hmm. And be real about it. And that's not the route he chose to take. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I wish him the best on that leg, though, because nobody deserves that shit. That's trash.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough.
You know what I'm saying?
He lost, what is his right leg?
It's like below the calf, like
Yeah.
right here. You know, they chop that shit off. And that's the thing too. Like I've been knowing Quentin for a long time, so to try and play it like, oh yeah, I don't know him or I don't know this guy. Like, bro, you used to come to my house all the time. We used to, smoke dope. We got mutual friends. We go back for years. You know what I'm saying? The coolest Max, shouts to my nigga. You know what I'm saying? 13, even shouts to 1317 and everything they doing. Nike checks all on me. But I was one of the first people blasting that music in the city and trying to make sure niggas had got to where they could be. So.
Well, in my interview, that's when I actually broke the story about how Meek's people jumped him.
Right.
And, because Taxstone told me.
Meek wanted the motherfucker to write for him.
Meek wanted Quentin Miller.
To write for him.
To write
and Quentin
for
Miller
him.
wouldn't write for him. So they blew it up like this motherfucker write for Drake. You know what I mean? And that's how it really came out. And that's why Dream Chasers beat Quentin Miller up in LA and all that shit.
Wait, Quentin Miller got beat up?
Yeah, they ain't see yo about that shit. They beat Quentin Miller up in Foot Locker or some shit.
It's true. They caught me. We was walking. We was in LA. I was walking to the Nike store, and he approached me, and this was really my first time really talking with me, and basically told me like, he didn't appreciate the letter that I dropped, and it made him seem like he was a liar or whatnot, and they fucking stole off on me in the Nike store and ran. I shed blood in the Nike store on Wilshire.
That's lame. You ain't shed no blood, no Nike store. I mean, if you to make it seem like you was a martyr for something, like that's lame. You didn't martyr. He could have been, which is what make it crazier. Like, I don't think Quentin realizes that at that moment, at that apex, right there, you had a whole world's attention to show that it's really the young people that's actually making all this culture, all this shit available to all these high-range people. And you had a moment to really stand up and show that. And instead, you was a bitch, like a whole ass bitch. Like, it's so wild. And to act like I don't understand where that come from, or if anybody can tell you, look, bro, stand up and do what's right regardless, I would think you would understand that it would be me that would be saying it when everybody wanted me to keep doing these fuck-ass, you guessed it, songs and do simple-ass shit, and I know I'm an amazing musician, so I decided to take that route. And look how much backlash for it I get. So if anybody can tell you, like, hey, bro, fuck it, it's worth it because you sleep better at night, you feel me, do the right thing, then it should be me, but he shed blood in the Nike store.
I mean, what do you think about that whole situation?
Fuck it. Shouldn't have been. Hey, look, man, it's like with Beans getting knocked out. Man, when you screaming all that, like, it's just like all these young people out here screaming at all that real nigga shit. Like, a real nigga ain't going to go get shot in the face and all that shit. That's not what real niggas is. A real nigga is somebody that stand on their ground and do what's supposed to be done. And if you know in that situation, regardless of how it was supposed to look in one way or another, if you know in that situation that all you can speak on is what you did, and you still disavow what you've done for the sake of trying to save what? One face?
I guess his relationship with Drake?
But that was never going to be saved because there obviously wasn't a real relationship in that at first anyway. Because nobody with a real relationship with you is going to get rid of you like that.
Right, because even 40 came out and said, hey, ain't no one going to deny what I've done with Drake.
Period.
And out of all the hours that we've been in the studio, the time we spent with Quentin Miller was about this many hours.
Right.
And that's that. That's what it was.
Right.
You're not going to say that Quentin wrote all of Drake's
Right.
shit all these years.
Right.
That's not what happened.
Right.
He did do some shit, and it was about this
And that's what
much.
everybody said.
Yeah.
Even I said that from the first night.
Yeah.
Let's not act like Drake is an amazing writer on his own.
Right.
You got 6 p.m. in New York and all sorts of shit to show for that. But these songs, these specific ones that end up being like anthems, you had a hand in these, and you should let people know that.
Right.
So when you decide not to do that, and then you write apology letters, and you switch sides and all that stuff, shit, man. I mean, come on, bro. Somebody gonna come at you for that.
Yeah, but he wasn't really. I guess it's sort of hazy why exactly Meek came at him.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna speak on that situation because it's been spoken on why. You feel me? Meek came to him like that. I think also people want to keep giving like Meek all these random ass L's, and I think people also forget at that time Meek had just went #1 with that album. You know what I'm saying? And so when people were still trying to come at Meek like, does he deserve this? Obviously, he had just dropped a song with Drake. It had nothing to do with that, and people was like, oh yeah, it was because of Drake not tweeting this or not tweeting that. I think people need to all look at this a little bit deeper than that. It's a little bit deeper than that with all these people that's deciding to try and beef with Meek for no fucking reason. And I think people ought to be so fucking more aware than to keep trying to say this man is taking L's. How is this man taking L's? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the L's that he's taking. I'm seeing a bunch of public perception, but these people are pussy, and most of them don't have any kind of backbone for themselves. So
I mean, I personally like Meek Mill's music.
I like Meek, man. I fuck with Meek. I like his music. I like what he stand for. I like the fact he got Nicki and Nicki rhyme for him like a real woman. Like, and that's what I think people are really envious of. He got one of the top artists in the game. Fuck top female. He got one of the top artists in the game standing right there next to him. Like, yo, you know, we riding. Period.
So I'd interviewed Taxstone and Manolo Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently something happened between y'all.
We ran down on them. We had mad kitchen knobs, and we put knobs to them, and they ain't want it. Like, they kumbaya'd, you know. And police was right there. The thing was is that we didn't know that the police was right there. We was just ready to go, and we was pissed off. And we ran down, jumped out, and the next thing we know, like, police is right there. Like, we black dudes in the middle of Texas, and rednecks holding they not even moving. They like watching it, just letting it go down. Like, they like want it to go down. And that's when I was like, nah, we gonna get shot out here by some rednecks from Texas. So we fell back and we left it as that.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna finally clear this story up because I don't have no more cases. I don't have shit.
And to be fair, you know, for example, Manolo Rose said that, you know,
No, salute to Manolo.
Me and him, you know, me and Maco
Manolo
are cool.
good. Yeah,
you
we
know,
cool as
I
fuck.
respect him. Everything else
Much
like that.
respect to him,
So
much
we talk
love to
about the
him.
situation, but it has a cool ending.
Yeah. That's the thing. You got a whole big ass hole in it, and I'm gonna finally clear it up because I couldn't really say everything that was going on with that situation because I had warrants and all sorts of shit. Even when I was down there, also I had warrants and I had like 5 warrants.
Okay.
You dig what I'm saying?
5 warrants.
Yeah, I ended up I cleared up 2 situations. As a matter of fact, at the same time. One, a lot of reason why a lot of times I didn't speak on shit. And people want to play it like it was pussy is because I had real warrants. The whole time I was OG Maco, I had warrants for probation violations and all sorts of shit that I was going through. And so people would ask me questions and I would just act like I didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. Or I would downplay it because I didn't want to go back to jail.
Right.
But at the same time, when the Migos went to jail for that bullshit that happened with them down in South Georgia, I also went to jail to go ahead and get rid of all my shit, rid of all my cases and everything else. And people thought like during that time maybe I fell off or I wasn't doing shit. I was in jail. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how simple that was.
Right.
And so now we'll go back to what happened in Austin. There was a show at South by Southwest. I was on the same bill as Manolo Rose. And me and Manolo, apparently, you know, I had done the Run Ricky Run song, freestyle, where I had like, you know, sent shots at him or whatever. You know, and that's how I felt because I knew that was the first wave of people trying to take what I had created and like diluted it to some other shit and then trying.
Okay. So was it because Run Ricky Run you felt was similar to Fuck 'Em?
It's not similar. That's like saying NG Ma is similar to Bitch You Guessed It. Fuck similar. It is the same song with the same cadence and a different beat and words. It's the same shit. Run Ricky Run. Fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em. Exact same shit. You can switch them out. You can switch out the lyrics for any part of both of those songs. But and put the beat for Fuck 'em on Run Ricky Run and still go. You feel me? That was my issue. And so I did Run Ricky Run, and that was that. And then me and Manolo talked that out.
I spoke to him, and he told me, he was like, yo, you know all that shit niggas is saying, don't worry about none of that shit, bro. I fuck with the record is hard. I'm like, yeah, my nigga, good looking. You know, like, yo, I'm like, yo, you know, jump on it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have no issue with you. I don't even know you. So it's like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, jump on the record and so on, let's do it. And so we, you know what I mean? That's what, and then we actually even did it. He did a remix. You know, he taking shots at me in the remix. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand how the rapper shit go. You know what I'm saying? I understand it. It's not real. It's not like real beef. Like people be hearing shit and they think it's like real drama. It's not though. It's not really real. Because like, if I really had a real issue with you, I'm not going to say the shit on those songs. And I ain't going to say the shit in no record either.
And so when we got down to Austin, me and him was good, you know, until we had a show. And it was me and the entire QC, and we had just got greatness, and so it's the whole OGG, and we might be like 50-something deep, no exaggeration. And we all sat upstairs at this show, and I remember distinctly I was like listening to the songs Manolo was doing, and literally all the songs sounded like one of my songs, just with new words. And so I'm listening to it at first, and I started watching it. So now I'm listening to this shit, And it's like pissing me off, like more and more it go on. So now I'm looking over the rail and I'm looking at it, and he's even performing the way I perform with the mosh pits and all sorts of shit. And I've never seen him do this. You know, it's all about the motherfucking money. Nothing like that. So I'm like, where the fuck did this all come from, right? And so I'm not gonna lie, I was real immature about it. You know, I started pouring like water and beers and all sorts of shit.
They was throwing water down. So at first, you know, because we usually we throw water in our, you know, while we you know, performing, we wilding out, having fun, we mosh pitting and shit like that. So I look up, I noticed that the water was dripping off the top of the beams. You know what I mean? Dripping down from the top of the beams. So I'm like, oh shit, I look up and I'm like, oh shit, they throwing water from up there. But I knew they had just came in. So I said, all right, cool. So I pointed up like, all right, yeah, when we done, we gonna come up there.
And I guess they thought I was just upstairs with people, but actually, you know, the whole upstairs was me and all my niggas. And so when they ran up, like they probably ran up like 12 deep, but it was 50 of us, my niggas. So when they ran up, I ran up on Manolo just like that, you know, like what's up? And we had all the guns and all that shit, you know, tucked off in the club, and they had whatever they had. And, you know, I ain't gonna say the man went out like no hoe. He ain't go out like no bitch. You know what I'm saying? But it was a situation where it was a stalemate, where couldn't nobody really do shit because we couldn't shoot them in no club. We couldn't stab them in no club. And if we started fighting the police, already gonna break it up. So they went out the side door, and we went and started doing our show, and somebody snitched and said what was going on upstairs. And the police came in, which is on camera. The police came in and took us out the show. And so later that night, that's when I'm doing the ear root shit, and I'm getting messages from Taxstone like da-da-da-da, and I'm telling nigga like straight up, nigga, you seen where I just said I'm gonna be at? I'm gonna be at the ear roots. I tweeted it already. So nigga, you should pop up, you feel me? And when we pull up in the truck, we had all the guns and shit in the truck, but it's ill roots and the police is right there, you know, so nobody gonna go out like no sucker shit. So we hop out, just me and my DJ and my homie and my manager, we hop out the truck, you feel me? We leave all the straps in the truck and we walk to the front door. And when we get to the front door of the ill roots, the police might be fucking 10 feet away. That's when we see like 5 dudes run up on us and they talking out loud and shit. And I'm like, yo, first off, I'm whispering, I'm like, first off, you do realize 12 is like right behind us. So whatever the fuck y'all got going on, if y'all want to take it over there, you feel me, we can take it over there. But otherwise, I'm finna go in here and do this ill root shit. And if y'all still got an issue, when I come out, it's whatever it is. I'm talking to some short dude. It ain't even Tax. It's some other nigga. You feel me? All of a sudden, I don't know who the fuck Taxstone is. I have no reason to know who he is. My manager know who he is. He's like, oh, he's a street guy. I don't give a fuck about that. You feel me? So that's when he like, oh yeah, well, what was all that y'all was capping? That's when we start seeing like these little kitchen knives and shit. They flashing in their waistband. So we like, y'all done went to Walmart and got some kitchen knives, my nigga? And that's what y'all doing. And they trying to play it all tough like niggas was trying to run down. That's why the whole thing with me and Tax happened, because he was trying to make it. I never tried to make them niggas look like no bitch ass niggas like they was hoe boys or nothing like that. They just came ran down with some fucking kitchen knives. Y'all know we got straps in the car. Y'all come with us with kitchen knives like 5 feet away from the police, my nigga. Y'all ain't finna do shit. If y'all finna stab us up, do it right here, niggas. Y'all niggas can go to jail. Like, come on, stab us then, nigga. Like, period. Like, that's what's gonna happen. And so after that, Manolo called me and he was like, yo, I ain't had nothing to do with niggas running down at Ill Roots. Like, I had nothing to do with me, but that was my man's. He felt like you had came to me a certain way and it was disrespectful. And I said, well, I did disrespect you. I feel like you disrespected me, but it is what it is. If we're gonna leave this in South by, we're gonna leave it down here. And if we not, then it is what it is. And me and Manolo agreed between each other, man, we're gonna leave this shit at South by. No, we shouldn't be so petty and childish as to take this event and put it out into the world, because it's just gonna create a division. And that's what we agreed on. Out of nowhere, me and him sitting there, and boom, here come Tax talking about it like it was his situation. Like, boy, this had nothing to do with you. This was your man's. Your man's decided he didn't want no smoke. I asked him, and then a second situation happened. I'm talking to Tax on the phone. He talking to my man's. I ain't gonna name my man's. My man's an OG nigga. He come to the Tax and say the same thing. Boy, if you want smoke, it's smoking. If not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to leave this alone and did this, because it ain't no point in this.
Well, I'd interviewed, like I said, Manolo a few months ago,
Right.
and he said it's dead.
After that, we talked it out. You know what I'm saying? Me and OG Maco, we had talked it out and shit like that. He called me. You know what I mean? We even have a record with me, him, and Lil Uzi. You know what I'm saying? That with Clinton Sparks. It's a Clinton Sparks record with me, him, and Lil Uzi. You know what I'm saying? And maybe one day that's supposed to come out. But yeah, we spoke on that term, and he called me like, yo, I'm gonna do the record. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the hook, and then he did the verse, and Lil Uzi did a verse, and he was like, yo, you know, I'm gonna do the record. This, that, and the third. Like, yo, man, all that shit is over, bro. I don't even care about that shit. No, I was like, yeah, because it was like during around the time he was having an issue with like Drake and shit like that with the Quentin Miller issue.
Yeah, it's dead. Me and Manolo got records coming out. You know
Oh,
what I'm
really?
saying?
That's
Me and
what's up.
Manolo got records coming out.
I'm a fan of both of y'all.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm saying?
fuck with Manolo. I fuck with Manolo as a person. I just, like I said, it was my own immaturity at the time because I already knew that what was gonna happen, how it happened now with all these people still in my wave and shit. I already knew it was gonna happen anyway. You know what I'm saying? I had just had an interview probably like the day before about Keith 8 with the Iggy Mall shit. And you know, I didn't even have any rights to that song or anything yet. I hadn't even spoken to Keith 8 yet. So I'm like, damn, man, it's just more and more people trying to steal my shit. And in the meantime, I got the whole world sitting here trying to tell me I'm nothing. Like, y'all sitting here telling me I'm nothing. It's all these motherfuckers taking my shit. And I was immature about it. And I went about it the wrong way. But never was nobody no bitch ass nigga in the situation. I feel like Tax should have stayed the fuck out of the situation. I feel like he should stop lying and trying to make it seem like anybody was in a hoe ass situation because Manolo didn't go out like a hoe and neither did I. Everybody stood their ground. Tax was just an extra ass nigga in the situation. That's all it was.
You had a tweet recently. You said, sort the hoes from the bitches, from the women, never confuse one for the other two.
Yep.
What's the difference?
What, the hoes from the
between
bitches?
a hoe, a bitch, and a woman?
A hoe cannot be satisfied. A hoe has her own means. She don't even know what satisfies her. You can run around trying to chase a hoe all day, and that hoe will never. She will find everything wrong with you and nothing wrong with her because she's empty. You know what I'm saying? A bitch has certain standards for what they have and then what they want and what they expect, but bitches don't need to meet their own standards. They'll call you broke with $10 in their pocket. They'll complain about broke ass niggas and have $10 in their pocket. They'll complain about lazy ass niggas and wait on some nigga to bring them food from their call list. That's a bitch. A woman looks at what her problems are and what she can do to fix it. She probably won't even accept your help most of the time. But a woman will take you on a date. A woman will be there with you when you're broke and show you how to make it, how to get better. A woman will stand there by your side when you decide to make it happen. Like Nicki Minaj is a woman. You dig what I'm saying? But if you ever confuse one for the other, you would drive yourself crazy. You would drive yourself mad. Trying to make a hoe a bitch or trying to make a bitch a hoe or trying to make any of them other two a woman. Because it's a choice. A woman has to make a choice to be a woman. A bitch or a hoe can make a choice to be either one of them at any time they want.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Women's hard to find these days.
Women are extremely hard to find these days because the same thing I just said. Society is so clickbait, don't think, you know, just act and just do. And now, especially with the weakness in these niggas, you know, the men are getting so weak these days where
Yep. How so?
well, they're looking for confirmation from everybody. They're looking for confirmation to be how manly am I based on what this other man say. How, you know, how important am I based on what these women say. How, whatever. And that's never what a man was. A man, even back in the day, a man would go out into the fucking field and go hunt wolves and whatever else by himself, not because somebody said it was stupid or it was smart. We need to eat, so I'm gonna go kill this goddamn wolf. And if I die trying, hey man, that's what I did. And if I live, everybody gonna come back and suck my dick because I killed the wolf and we all ate. But what the last thing I'm gonna care about is what whom Gra Water in the corner talking about me wanting to kill this motherfucking wolf. And yet instead, people look for validation for dancing ass prom routines to impress my friends, and I gotta rap like this or wear this to impress these people who never give a fuck about you. It's very odd. It's very strange.
Well, I mean, we live in a. You know, I had a brother Polite here yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about how we live in this world with all these virtual friends and all these virtual followers. And we get this sense of community from these people who they exist, but we never get to meet them. We never really get to interact with them physically.
Ever.
You know, ever.
Ever.
Ever. You know,
And
especially people like me and you who have literally millions
like,
of fans
you won't
and followers.
you won't see
I don't know
them.
who these people are.
Nor
I
do
appreciate
you-
them, but
you appreciate them.
But that's where it stops.
That's it. And yet still you have people who are basing their entire lives off of these people who they'll never meet. Like these people who sit in my comments and, you know, in my mentions and these things, and they'll try and tell me all these things about me, and they don't even know me. I mean, I watch people. I've had grown ass men and women walk up to me, fathers and grandmoms, and be like, "Hey, you OG Maco?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Young man, I want you to know you just got to keep going. I seen your interview on Vlad TV," and I'm not even just trying to like, you know, suck dick. I'm like, they honestly say Vlad TV over everywhere else. I seen an interview on Vlad TV that you spoke on. And I know the kids might not respect what you were saying just yet, but they're just young and they don't understand. You were saying some real shit. You got to keep going. And those same people look at that interview and say, how dare you say Beyonce stole this or something? I never said Beyonce stole shit. I said Beyonce was inspired by it, and people try to act like they didn't see it. So and that's the other thing. The kids don't even have enough belief in themselves. How could Beyonce be inspired by you? Look at you, you're nothing. No, you think you're nothing. And you think you're so low that someone as high up as Beyonce could never look down at you for inspiration. But if you look at everybody as a unilateral human being, any human being from anywhere at any point in life can look at another human being as inspiration for something. And that's the problem with the kids. They have absolutely no self-worth. So they're trying to depreciate everybody else's self-worth. They have no belief in themselves, and so they're trying to appreciate everybody else's belief. And they want people to care about what they say because they feel like no one cares about what they say. So it's crazy, bro. And no one is actually trying to do anything to curb it.
Well, I mean, I think we're going through an adjustment period because up until like 5 years ago, life sort of functioned a certain type of way.
Right.
And now it's completely different.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if a fight happened, whoever was there, could talk about the fight and could make fun of you and whatever else.
But now the whole world.
Now the whole world will get to see it. It is there forever.
But I mean, what's the thing though? What changed?
Still the same fight.
Still the same fight.
Yep.
You still don't give a fuck what the people outside of it really talking about because they couldn't do shit about it.
Right.
And if you won, you won. And if you lost, you lost.
It is what it is.
So at the same time, I bet the same person, out of all say 200,000 people seen it, right? I bet you that 195,000 of those people have lost damn near every fight they ever been in. If they've ever been in a fight.
Right.
And the reason they on your shit, because they finally get to laugh at somebody else. Most of those people aren't even too pussy to ever even get in a fight or even get in a conflict.
Yeah.
And that's what people often forget. The main people talking down of you will have never done anything you've done. People will call me a one-hit wonder, which I think is the stupidest shit ever because at the very least you have to give me 3. I got Dr. Pepper, I got Fuck 'em, and I got You Guessed It. If that's the only 3 you want to give me.
Well, let's even take a step back from that. 99.9% of artists out there are no-hit wonders.
Or no hit. I was literally about to get to it. 99.9% of people who make music have 0 hits.
0 hits.
Let alone
So the fact that you have one,
60 million.
how you gonna talk back on one? Like that's just stupid.
Like it's ridiculous, and yet it's still people will hear that and really feel justified in saying it when you have 0 accomplishments.
Right.
And if you focused on what
Right.
you could do to accomplish yours, or focus on what I'm trying to teach you from mine, and with all the sacrifice I'm making for it, so many things people don't want me to say, and I still say them because I know the kids need to hear it. No matter how many people won't support me because of it, I mean backlash I get because of it, I still say it for the kid that needs to hear it.
Right.
And will have a hit one day.
Right, because it ain't Jay-Z calling you a one-hit wonder.
It ain't Jay-Z. That's the thing people don't realize too. Look at the legends. Have you heard any of the legends call me anything? I'm with Mario. I'm with, like we were just talking about off camera, I'm with Rick. And
Rick Rubin,
people will sit there and wonder, how are you with Rick Rubin? How are you doing that? And they want to say, oh, Pablo Dillon, someone had to set it up for you or something like that. Whatever. Even if that's what happened.
Well, it's interesting because I was talking to Brother Polite yesterday. And he had brought up something really dope that we actually discussed in our interview.
We've practiced thinking like this for so long. It's been dumped into our DNAs and passed on to us from generation to generation. This is true. It's called epigenetics, just so people have a point of reference that if I am susceptible to similar distress, the trauma inherent from my ancestors who inherited from their ancestors, I will also be vulnerable to the same. So we can inherit trauma. This is through epigenetics, it's true.
The amazing flip side of that is, as many times as they say that, when they see a young black person doing the steps that it take to become successful and standing against the crowd and standing against the wave and standing on their own 2 feet, they talk shit about them the whole time. They talk shit about them from the moment they start standing and to the moment they reach that pinnacle of blackness. And then they forget all the time they call them ain't shit for all that, and they just say, oh, well, it was a white man that had to do it. I just did all of this shit none of y'all like. All this shit you talk down on. And now when I reach this pinnacle of success, You forget about all that shit you said I did that was worthless and pointless and I'd never be nobody and all that shit. Oh, now someone had to know it. This white man just had to do it for me.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing.
It's a little sad.
And no, it's not a little sad. It's very sad. It's extremely sad. And that's why I'm moving to myself, into broadcasting. And, I'm doing this stuff with Dash Radio with Ski now. And I got a position over at Revolt. I'm creating content and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I feel like people are looking at that and thinking the opposite way. Why wouldn't a person who's done nothing but be outspoken during this entire career, there had to be a plan for that. I always planned to move, into some kind of broadcasting, into some form of something, because I never wanted to be the person that just had to sit there. My only medium be my music, because music can be misunderstood. Music is formative, but there's nothing like hearing a direct conversation.
Right. That's what I do for a living.
You see what I'm saying? Look at you, Vlad TV.
That's right.
So I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, man. Not too long ago, there was this HIV rumor that came out of nowhere.
Right.
And
I'm supposed to be dying and shit, right?
Right. You look pretty healthy.
I'm healthy as shit. I'm super good. And that was so crazy because people kept coming to me all wild, like, oh, you died. And even now, that's what they're trying to throw me at now. Whenever I come back to somebody, they're like, oh, that's why you got AIDS. All right.
Okay.
It's crazy because my ex, like she has a whole baby on the way. With her new dude or whatever she got going on.
Okay, it's not your baby.
No, it's not my baby. Whatever she got going on.
But this is the ex that recorded the phone call.
No. And that's the thing about it. The whole thing about that whole phone call, and I told people from the jump that I was on drugs.
Yeah.
I have no problem saying it.
What were you on?
I was on a fucking trip, though. I was on like acid.
Acid. Acid will do it too.
I was on drugs, you know what I'm saying? I'm calling her during this trip, and I'm telling her, like all this tripped out ass shit. And her and my last ex, they had a whole bunch of beef going on and all sorts of shit. And so they was trying to destroy each other. And in the meantime, I'm just like caught in the middle of this shit, of them trying to destroy each other. And so when all this shit hit the internet, they like, oh yeah, you died and you have all this shit. I'm looking at it like, man, all this time I was supposed to be dead, man. I'm still kicking just fine.
So you called her high off acid.
Yeah.
Told her you have HIV.
No, I never even said that. I remember my exact words because I had to go back and listen to it. I'm like, why everybody say I have fucking AIDS and shit? What I told her was, I think I was having a trip, and I told her, wherever I'm going, I can't go because they won't bring me what I need. They won't bring me, I won't have time. I think that was something like that. I said something like that.
How did that turn into HIV?
I don't fucking know. What they told me was I was dying. I think the first headline was like, OG Maco has deadly disease.
Okay.
And I immediately was like, yo, look, first off, there's nothing wrong with me. Two, I immediately tweeted after that. I was like, yo, look, I had a drug problem. I was on drugs. And I did. At that time, and that's why, shouts to Cudi, and much love to him. During that time in my life, I was extremely depressed. And I was suicidal on top of it. Like, I'm going to be very honest about it because of all the things that was being taken away from me. I had done so much. I had innovated so much. I did it all by myself, not without anybody supporting me, without anybody on top of my back, and everybody was just taking my accomplishment for me and just beating me down and just like making me feel like absolutely nothing, dog. I mean, it was a terrible time in my life, and I got real drug dependent. I just didn't want to be around. I didn't want to have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to make my music, and even if you listen to my music, like 15 was like super dark. It was everything was getting dark, and it was the hope was kind of gone in my music. Because I didn't have any hope in myself.
So she recorded it.
And then she recorded this shit, which I didn't know. We broke up, and they started beefing, and then boom, this kid dropped, and I'm fucking dying. And even till right now, I never released it, but I can play it for you right now. I have the recording of her saying it was all a lie. It was all bullshit. I just never released it because I didn't feel a need to, because I knew I wasn't. I figured time will tell. If y'all see me still kicking all these years from now, maybe y'all will realize ain't shit wrong with me. I haven't had no cancellations due to sickness. I haven't had nothing crazy.
Well, I mean, but these days, HIV is not a death sentence.
Right.
You could actually get on whatever the pill is and
do whatever you have going on.
In fact, and this is, I'm not telling people to go get HIV, but right now with the drugs they have, a person who takes these drugs every day could live as long as a person without HIV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
which is very true.
Yeah.
And it also plays into what we were talking about too, the stigmatization that the youth put on anything. you know, because even if somebody was suffering like that, right? Why would that be the thing you would do to try and denigrate them? Because even through all this time, there haven't been any like young ladies who've been saying like to corroborate this story or say I did anything to them. This never happened. You know what I'm saying? And if that's what I'm going through, why would you try and destroy me with that? You know what I'm saying? Even if you heard that recording and that was what was going on in my life, why would you try and destroy me from that? That recording sounds like a guy in pain. I even had to listen to the recording myself to realize how close I was to not being here. You know what I'm saying? How close I was to offering my damn self.
Oh, so you were gonna kill yourself?
Yeah, I was extremely suicidal, dog. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I woke up one night with my fucking gun in my hand. You know
Really?
what I'm saying? I know, this is a true story.
So you had a loaded gun?
I had a loaded gun in my hand. I woke up with it.
Do you remember actually?
I don't even remember.
You don't
doing
remember?
it.
You were that high?
I remember crying. I remember waking up and I called that same ex and I was crying.
Well, Kid Cudi, you're a big admirer of.
That's one of my favorite people in the whole world.
You know him personally?
Scott, yes. I just talked to Dr. Genius actually this morning. You know, you can't really reach Scott right now. He been in a place, you know, and I understand him completely.
Yeah, because he just turned himself in for rehab.
Good for him.
Suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And you could relate.
No, I can relate fully because look at it like this. As a fan of Cudi, 808s and Heartbreak, Man on the Moon, those two things alone, just those two, completely changed the landscape of music. Just those, right? Now imagine you completely change the landscape of music, what you love more than anything else. And yet still people treat you like some after act. And the moment people thought they could shoot you down, look, the moment he said what he said and he went off on Twitter, right? And then Kanye came out and did his rant, right? Everybody tried to turn against Cudi. Oh, you sunned him, da-da-da-da-da. And then what did Ye do? Ye was real, and that's why I forever love Ye.
Yeah,
Ye was real,
came
and he
back.
said, man, look, man, I love Cudi. And y'all got to realize he one of the most influential people of the last 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
And that's what Cudi is living with. Cudi is living with knowing he's influenced people like me and Travis and all sorts of people to become the people that we are,
Wait, he's all over Travis's new album.
period.
Yeah.
Right? And imagine having to live with that and then know that the entire general public looking at you like some kind of fucking sidekick when actually you're a hero.
Yeah, but let's just take a step back. All right, like Kid Cudi when he goes on tour is bananas. Like it ain't like Kid Cudi's like doing picnics and shit like that.
No,
like
he's
puppet
not.
shows. Like
Yeah, he's not.
come on, man. Like when Kid Cudi, because I remember I was working, like I was a vice president at SRC Records, which was part of Universal at the time. And I remember when Kid Cudi's like second album dropped and it was like, the shit went through the roof with like no single.
Yeah,
and,
Man on the
and-
Moon tour
and-
went ridiculous.
and I remember he was on tour, I think with like Asher Roth, with like his opening act or something. And like, he was like selling out every place. Like Kid Cudi has one of these types of fan bases.
It's a cult fan base.
It's a cult fan
But a
base
cult
that very
fan
few
base-
artists have. Like Kid Cudi could have no singles ever for the rest of his life
And still boom.
sell out shit.
But that's not.
So it's like,
You're thinking about that as a person who's talking about money. We're not talking about money. We're talking about
I'm
artistic.
not talking about money either. I'm talking about like he has real fans.
That's his fans though. You don't have to be a Kanye fan to appreciate what Kanye has done. But you have to be a Cudi fan to appreciate what Cudi's done. Even though it's the same realm. And that is what eats us. Because I don't need everybody to call me the greatest artist of all time. I don't need people to even listen to my music, right? But to act like the presence I brought, the innovation I brought, the freedom I gave artists of this generation, to act like that didn't happen, it eats at me. And that's on my level, where I just had the people who I influenced are just starting to happen. You know what I'm saying?
And Cudi's at
Cudi made me.
it's a bigger level.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Cudi made me. Cudi made Travis. Like, Cudi helped make Ye into the fucking titan that he is by being able to show people that emotional range. Because everybody looked at Ye as just like this dickhead flexing ass dude, and Cudi was like, nah, y'all got Ye's been sad too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he showed that to people, but yet at the same time, people are not giving him that kind of credit. And as an artist, as a creator who's battling with their own demons, sometimes freeing people and getting that recognition is all that you have.
Well, I mean, but Cudi's, always had a thing with drugs.
Yeah.
I remember I interviewed King Chip.
I never really seen him like, you know what I mean, like what they would call like strung out or like. I always seen him in total control. He'd just be turned up. You know what I mean? He'd just be like, he'll just be more of himself. You know what I mean? Like the you know, you may do or say things that, you know, you would want to do. And you know what I mean? I really can't explain it. You know what I mean? But I never saw it as like a problem where it's like, man, we need to get you some help or none of that shit. It was just really like a choice.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. People go to those extremes. People say, I never did heroin, I never do cocaine. Oh, granted, you might
I've done acid before, though.
Okay,
I've
right.
done mushrooms before, so
right.
You know, so you can say I do drugs.
Right, okay, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like everybody has something they do.
Yeah.
Right. So just like people who drink lean love to say they don't do heroin, you do heroin. I'm sorry, you have a dope nod and you lean. You feel me?
Yeah.
So people often like to exchange the extremes of, well, I do drugs, but I don't do this. I do drugs, I don't do that. Everything affects everybody completely different ways, and so I don't think Cudi's drug use is what is playing a bigger part on how he feels. It is a side effect of it, even without the drugs.
Well, I mean, he would say, I remember there was an interview he did, I think, with Complex, where he said that he would have to do coke to get through interviews because he hated interviews so much.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. And you see people have to go and get through their day without that damn what I said as soon as I walked in, hey man, Chad, go get that damn weed, I need that.
Right.
I just woke up. I literally just woke up. You feel me? I fucking washed my face and brushed my teeth and put on a nice outfit. That's how we do it. And I can go through this right now because you're you. And I know the things I'm saying, people are gonna see them, people are gonna do that. And I know for a fact I need to say what I need to say. But for someone like Cudi, like that's not really exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to get to himself. People forget I'm on the pursuit of happiness. That was the first album. He is still on the pursuit of happiness all the way till now. Yeah. And so just imagine being on that journey for that long. Thank God he had something that can help him get through it. Because otherwise, shit, we might not have Cudi here today. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've criticized Future before over...
I criticize everybody. I get so sick of everybody saying I criticize Future. I criticized everybody, and Future was the biggest thing at the moment. And so I said, like Future.
Like Future.
Like Future. Never criticize directly Future or criticize Future and say he's destroying the fucking world. That is the biggest bullshit. I listen to Future every goddamn day. I've listened to Future every day since I got out of Rice Street in 2011.
Future's dope.
Future's amazing. Fuck dope. He's amazing. I told him that myself when I talked to him.
So, you said what you said.
Right.
And you did mention his name.
Right, I definitely did.
And he reached out to you, or you reached out to him, or what happened?
Me and Future, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen too, because people said me and Future had a beef. I've never seen a beef that lasted over a 5-minute phone call. And people remember that Future heard about what I said during a live Huffington Post interview, right? And so right after we got off that interview, we immediately talked right then. This is before it was even a tweet. Before there was even a tweet about it. Future called me, and I called him, and I said, he's like, yo, bro, what did you mean to say? He was like, what you trying to say? And I said, what I was trying to say was, at the advent of drug use for these kids who don't even use drugs, how large it's becoming now. This is before it's even as big as it is now. You know? I was saying that somebody that's within this culture needs to understand, as much as we talk about the drugs, we also talk about why we do it and talk about why you shouldn't do it. Because people are not looking at what Future is going through as the reason for him using drugs. Just like I just did with Cudi. People are not looking at why Cudi might do drugs, just that Cudi is doing drugs. And if those drugs weren't there, maybe Cudi would not have made it to even be here for us to talk about why Cudi is doing drugs. Maybe if that's a fact. And so when you're at that level and on that platform, I feel like it's just as important for you to say why you're doing the drugs versus just make it seem like drug use as a whole is acceptable. It is not really something that people should push for and strive to do. You should not strive to do drugs. At the same time, you should understand why someone is doing drugs before you make an unconscious decision or a conscious decision to be a follower and just do them because it is the culture or it is cool to do it. And that's what I meant. I still smoke weed every fucking day.
Right, me too.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
I will pop a pill if I am in pain. I will do it. You feel me? Back in the day, before I even say anything about lean, when I was sick, like if I was sick, if I had a real cold, I would drink lean to get over the cold. I would not drink lean in a regular function just to do that shit, just to be chill. But also, I'm not judging someone who is doing that. I just refuse to let someone who drinks lean and say, oh, I don't do heroin, to go and talk about someone who does cocaine or does Xanax or does whatever else, because it's all the same thing. What we should be talking about is why you're doing it versus why someone else should not do it, and the conscious decision and choices that remain in that. So there is some not only responsibility, but there is some social awareness to the difference in it.
Yeah.
Extremely important.
So what was the conversation like with you in Future?
It lasted all of like 15 minutes, and he was like, "Good, bro. I support what you're doing. I support, that you actually do stand up for you, despite everybody going against you." He said this stuff despite everybody going against you, despite they trying to drag your name through the mud. I respect what you're doing. But the most important thing he said, and this is why when everybody say, "Oh, I apologize to Future," I need to understand what I apologized about, because the most important thing he said in that whole conversation was, you need to realize that they're gonna try and turn us against each other. That it won't be just white people that try and turn us against each other. The black people going to try and turn us against each other. The white people going to try and turn us against each other. The machine is going to try and turn us against each other just to keep the machine running. And what you did was a rookie mistake. You let them fool you into saying something that's not exactly what you tried to carry across. At the same time, look at the conflict is made. Now you're going to take some losses forward that you shouldn't have had to take, all because you're trying to say a positive message. You can't let them do that to you. And I said, you're right. And I said, I apologize for being a rookie and letting that rookie mistake happen, because you're right, I was a rookie error. The same way I just said I was a rookie and I was immature for the whole Manolo Rose thing. But people have to understand, I didn't have nobody sitting next to me trying to help me and standing in the corner. Yeah, I'm signed to QC, but Coach K wasn't standing there next to me like, yo, bro, hey, man, this was going on. Nobody knew what the fuck to do around my whole career, because everybody was so afraid what I was doing wasn't going to catch on. The people didn't want to be rock stars, and the kids didn't want to jump up and down in the concerts, and nobody wanted to dye their hair blonde. That everybody was so afraid to attach themselves and say, we support this young man and what he's doing. Even if he don't always do it right, even if he don't always say the right thing, his intentions are always right. We watch him live day in and day out with these great intentions that he has, but he has a lot of passion, and passion is often misconstrued as hate or a downplay or stuff like that, and nobody said that for me. And so I was left out in the world, in the fucking ocean, with all the goddamn sharks. And I'm just stabbing up the sharks as best I can. You know what I'm saying? That's all I had.
Me and Pete Rock, we went back and forth on text.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of both. See, like, I'm a fan of Pete Rock, and I'm also a fan of Lil Yachty.
Right.
Because I never wanted to be the dude that says, oh, this new hip hop is shit. You got to go listen to Grandmaster Flash. That's the real shit. Like, I never wanted to be that guy. No matter how old I got, I never wanted
That's
to
trash.
I never wanted to be that guy.
It's trash to have that outlook.
What do you mean?
Well, the whole reason I can't respect anything Pete Rock said, even if I still have respect for Pete Rock, is very simple. It's very easy for people to forget when they were in the same position where people was calling rap trash and not real music, and this isn't real music, and this isn't that. And so to have so much fucking pride and hubris that you forget when you were in the exact same position as this young man who's just trying to path the way for his people, just like you try to path the way for your people, it's fucking stupid. And never can you get so big and so, I'm such a legend, that you forget that at one time you wasn't a legend and people ridiculed you for the exact same thing. You were making some garbage-ass, mumble-ass music that with all this boom-bap-ass beats that nobody wanted to hear. And that's what you thought. That's what they thought. They thought they was right, just like you think you right, but you're not right. Innovation is innovation. And to try and curb innovation, that's idiotic.
Like I said, I like both. I actually disagree with Pete Rock.
Yeah, I disagree completely.
And I felt like, listen, like, you got Rakim, and then you got like songs like It Takes Two, to make a thing go right, which is not a lyrical masterpiece, but it's a dope song. It's a dope party song. Like, it's the lyrics are lame, but it is what it is. It's not supposed to be a lyrical fucking, tapestry. And, but the two of them went back and forth.
And I said this, and I think it was in your interview, I said this too, and it still continues on. I have watched over and over again as people come and say, oh, what is this? This isn't real words. This isn't real lyrics. This isn't da-da-da. And only rap is held up to that standard. Only rap has to have words that are super complex. Only rap has to have stories that all coincide. But you go to pop songs and country songs and random ass rock songs, and they can say the same fucking word the whole goddamn song. You don't have to have any syntax, any relatability at all. And that's music. It deserves a Grammy. It deserves this.
It's got feeling.
It has feeling. And then you have this black people, old black people, come and speak on young black people and say, you're not making real music because it's not lyrical enough. And then we'll go and salute a goddamn song from 30 years ago that had like 3 fucking words in it. I find that extremely amazing, and I find it in a way bigoted. You know, and I'm not saying it's just white people because that would be stupid. I'm saying I feel like black people are even worse, trying to make rap be so much socially aware and have to be so much more intelligent than us other music, and it's still the biggest shit in the world.
Well, what about the fact that Yachty feels like he doesn't need to have a lot of knowledge about hip hop?
Why? People don't even have knowledge on hip hop as it is currently. People don't even, you have all these same people don't even realize the influence I made and think they're fucking experts in music. And they don't hear a simple change in sonics. All the music got louder the moment our shit came out. You look at the Migos, and the Migos made people start rapping fast, and then they start doing the mama and all the loud ass ad-libs, right? And then you get to me, and I make the music even louder with slower beats, with this trapped out ass beats, and then you get like Father and all this random ass, like, they want to call it the hipster music. And now look what that evolved into, Uzis and Dexes and, you know what I'm saying, all this shit that is here now. And these same music experts aren't even smart enough to make those simple connections.
Yeah, me personally, I really don't care.
Why should you?
I don't care if you don't have the encyclopedia type knowledge that I have, because I'm older than a lot of these dudes. You know, but you could say that I don't know music because I don't know all the jazz greats. You know, I don't know every Charlie Parker song. I don't know every Miles Davis. Like, you know, it is what it is. And honestly, not knowing something almost gives you a more
open,
like a different view to creating some shit, because you're not.
You don't have to follow
back.
those constructs, and I think that's what they mad about. On top of it too, that you have
like I personally don't care. Like I said, because the fact, people getting on him because he couldn't name 5 Tupac or Biggie songs, and it's like, so what? Who cares? I mean,
being completely honest, even when Yachty said that, I was being completely honest with myself. Even if I couldn't, I wouldn't care, because even in my generation, there's not this avid need to be a Biggie and Tupac fan. Like, me personally, I like Biggie. I'll turn on Biggie before I turn on Pac. You know what I'm saying? But am I going to sit there and listen? If you tried to turn on a whole day's worth of Tupac or Biggie, I would slap you and walk the fuck out. I won't listen to that shit all day.
Well, you know what it is, though, about Tupac is that it's kind of like a Bob Marley thing. Like, Tupac actually had a social message.
That's true enough.
And Tupac was one of the few artists of any genre that really cared about what his people were going through, and it really hurt him, and he really wanted to make things better for his people.
But at the same time, do the kids like Yachty have anybody that they're not even trying to accept that? You're talking about something where people like me, when we speak out on stuff, or you don't even care. When you have all these different artists now who will talk about, look at Vic Mensa. Vic does all this campaigning, to make sure there's a better equality for what's going on, and you don't hear people just praising what Vic is doing. We have even more artists who are more socially conscious aware than Pac even was, and yet it's still
more than Pac was. I don't know.
I think people I
don't know about that.
I think people overstate a lot of, and I don't give a fuck who had this backlash from saying this. I think people overstate how involved that Pac was versus how involved artists are now.
Well, Pac was a Black Panther.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, his mom was actually part of the Panther 21. He grew up in a Black Panther household.
Salute. He made it possible for us to be, but to say that there are not artists who are socially aware right now, who not even on the top tier of things, is crazy, because now there are kids who don't even have an outlet or have no looks. So you go to SoundCloud and find how many socially conscious and socially aware rappers you can find who are not Tupac,
right.
who are not
There's
on
more
that
rappers
level.
now, but for example, like I could, because I'm a little older than you, and I actually lived through, saw some of the stuff happening. Like, what had happened was there was a situation in Atlanta where there were like two white cops were fucking with a black kid. Tupac came in, got in the middle of it, and ended up shooting. Like, they pulled out guns on him.
Right.
He pulled out a gun on them. He ended up shooting both of them, and he got away. And he actually proved that they were drunk, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And he was like one of the first black people to shoot 2 white cops in the South.
We
and actually
are
get
not
away
doubting,
and actually walk away from
I'm
that.
not downplaying that at all. That is legendary as fuck.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And
that is not what I'm downplaying.
You're from the South.
What I'm saying is now, in our situation, we wouldn't even be able to pull out the gun. We would reach for it and die. You dig what I'm saying? So to take that back in full circle, the kids at Yachty age now are aware of how much hopelessness it is in the situation. And two, the kids at Yachty age who aren't aware of it don't give a fuck. At Pac's time, there was an avid push for this kind of social change. The youth wanted this. But the youth now doesn't give a fuck about anything but Snapchat, Instagram, and what the fuck A$AP Rocky and Kanye are wearing. Like, they don't give a fuck. Look at how many kids have been shot and killed. How many black men have died just this year alone from police brutality. We have not seen the kids outraged. The kids will be outraged for all of a hashtag, and most of them aren't even the kids. You're talking about people my age, 24, 25. We on Twitter going ham, putting up hashtags and shit. But when we do marches and all sorts of shit, but you're not seeing the youth go for it like they did, or even be inspired, or even look at artists with reverence who are going for these things. It's just a moment in passing to them. And that's the difference.
Well, news right now is so moment in passing.
Yeah, everything is moment in passing.
Someone dies and it's R.I.P.
It's a
so-and-so,
fucking joke.
and the next day...
Look at that trying to make Kim made up getting robbed in Paris. Like, what kind of shit is that? The humanity and the youth is so lost now. And so for you to be like, yo, well, Yachty, he doesn't care, or he should know. Well, you old heads didn't even really show the youth why they should care about things that these people was talking about. The things they was rapping about, the kids still have the worst parts of it, the selling drugs and the shooting guns and the fucking bitches. But the social inequality shit, they don't give a fuck about it. They white friends call them niggas, and they black friends call them crackers, and hey, it is what it is. We all together. You feel me? Like, that's how they feel about it, even though that's not what the people before them feel like.
Yeah.
So they don't have a care for it. They don't need to know 5 Biggie songs or 5 Pac songs. But in 20 years, somebody will need to know 5 Yachty songs because he just went fucking double platinum.
Well, I'm looking at Vlad TV right now, and you actually popped up on the homepage again.
Yeah.
Over the Logic thing.
Yeah.
So Logic's announced his new album title.
Africarian.
Africarian.
Fuck is that? This is my same outlook on it. And I literally just explained this too, and I would go to my exact reasoning for it. 1, I do not listen to Logic. I have never heard Logic's song in my life.
Logic is nice.
Okay.
I fuck with Logic.
I've
interviewed him before.
I will take your word for it.
Okay.
I have never heard Logic's song. What I do know about Logic is that he is of mixed heritage.
Yes.
I know that Logic has obviously seen the same news that I have watched, whether it be Al Jazeera or CNN or Fox, whatever you watch. Mm-hmm. Right? And at this time, where there's a whole ignorance on race and bigotry and things of this nature, and how it's being concealed, to expose a country that is obviously divided to a divisional title, right, that is often misunderstood. Aryan was not a construct that was created that meant white. Aryan was not white because Aryans, 1, is a theory. It is not confirmed. It is a theory. And that theory was based on a pure-blooded, supreme white race. And that was propaganda that was pushed by Hitler. Mm-hmm. So that word alone, Aryan, is not a construct of simple white. Africa is Africa. Aryan is a fucking construct. And so to put that construct in there because you think it sounds cool, no matter how you explain it, is
was there an explanation behind the title?
He put an explanation out for it. I watched it.
What was the explanation?
His explanation was that coming from being both black and white, he wanted to show people how, he could look at it at the lens through both sides, right?
Well, Logic is an interesting case.
Okay.
Because Logic actually is mixed. He's black and white, but he passes for white.
My exact reasoning for what I said, and I stand behind it because people often forget that he passes for white.
Most, for example, like he had brought up in our interview that J. Cole's mixed also.
Right.
I didn't know that. I thought J. Cole was just light-skinned black guy, 2 black
parents. But what does J. Cole, people like J. Cole and Colin Kaepernick identify as?
As black.
Oh, right. And you know why I identify as black instead of identify as mixed? Because we're at a time where being black is a threat, where the Black Lives Matter movement immediately was labeled as a terrorist group versus the Ku Klux Klan. We still can't get a terrorist designation on the fucking Ku Klux Klan despite all the terroristic things they've done. And so when you make an album title and try and wistfully explain it away as, I'm just trying to make people see both sides. What both sides are we looking at? Because Aryan is a classification made and created by racists, not by white people, not by some scientists, is not a regional sort of thing. It is literally a theory created by racists. And even the guy that created it believed in the Germanide. If you want to get, that's the other thing. I do research on what I say. The guy who even created that whole concept that Hitler stole from believed in a supreme German race. So even he was a bigot. The entire term Aryan comes from bigots. And so when you try and make it seem like it is just some willy-nilly term for white people, and I'm coming at him for making an album that's like black and white, that's fucking stupid. What I'm saying is to carelessly throw that word around, knowing that these white people, this secret racist subculture, will be able to rally behind it, whether you intended that to happen or not, is not wise. I don't have anything to say about Logic as an artist because I don't listen to him. I don't have anything to say about him as a person because I don't know him. I disagree with the title. I feel like it is a shit title for the times. That is what I said.
Yeah, man, and and I've interviewed, like I said, I've interviewed Logic, and he actually grew up in some really fucked up conditions. Your dad was on crack.
Yes.
Okay. From what? How old were you when this first started happening?
My whole life.
Your whole life.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So since you were a baby.
Yeah, but my mother and father, they were never married, so I was born at a wedlock.
Okay.
And so I was raised by my mother. My father would come around mainly when he needed shit or like wanted to, try to scheme or whatever.
Okay.
And so he had always been battling addiction his whole life, and now he just turned 60, which is crazy. So, but then my mother as well with prescription medication. She dealt with manic depression. So, yeah, it was crazy. It was pretty fucked up.
My guess is if you go to most Logic shows, you'd have a mostly white audience.
A bunch of white people.
And it even sort of like the branding, like for example, like he calls himself like kind of like the Rat Pack, and is like the whole.
It's all white. Everything involved. G-Eazy is blacker than Logic.
I don't know about that.
You know what I'm saying?
I would say it's about they market themselves kind of equivalently.
I was just being a dickhead about that one. I was being a dickhead.
But it's like, but like I said, Logic, the whole Rat Pack, like the whole Frank Sinatra thing
Right.
and stuff like that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like looking at the difference between like Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick. You have a similar structure there, but look at the difference. You have, out of all of these super dark ass motherfuckers in the NFL, it is Colin Kaepernick who decided to take a knee and in that way take a stand.
Yeah.
And so when you as a mixed artist, you know that most black people have no understanding of what Aryan is. They don't know.
Yeah.
Nor they're gonna look it up.
And in fact, actually, Kaepernick was actually raised by white parents.
Right? And yet and still, he realizes the need for black leaders in this culture. And so when you have that choice where you can identify to be black, even though you've made most of your money off of identifying as white people, even more so because of that. You've made so much money off of identifying as white at this time, more so than any time ever. Stand up for us just one time. Make it known that as much as your white side matters and you appreciate your black side and your black heritage just as much. Because we need it. Not because it might be the most profitable thing, but because you already don't have any radio singles. That's not what's pushing your music. Your music is pushed by these fans. And the fact that we need everyone to understand where it's coming from, at this time, that is not the best thing you could do. That is not the most socially responsible title. And of course your fans are going to defend it. Of course there are people who just hate me who are going to make it seem better. But does it change what I'm saying?
Right, I mean, because Aryan, like I said, even past the, there's the Nazi thing, then there's the Aryan Nation.
There's the Aryan Brotherhood.
Aryan Brotherhood.
Everything that's ever been connected with Aryan is extremely and outwardly racist.
Yeah.
So if your idea was to change the perception of that, then you would have to come at it from the black standpoint and use it. Like, this is like super secret information, but me and Heroes and Villains are creating a band, right?
Okay.
And right now, our code name for it is Confederate. Why? because the Confederate flag is often used against black people, right? And yet a Confederacy is exactly what black people need to be right now.
Well, I mean, Kanye had the song Black Skinheads.
You see how you change it around? That's how you switch it around. That's how you switch the connotation for it. What you don't do is throw it on the end of Africa and put Aryan, and knowing that through your entire career you've identified as white. It is socially awkward as fuck.
I mean, he got us talking about it, so I guess he accomplished what he
Which
set
is
out
what
to
the
do.
goal was, to get us to talk about it. And I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm very aware.
We fell into the trap.
We fell into the trap. You know what I'm saying? So great on that part, but I just think, and what I told people also is I'm hoping that the content is completely betrays the title. That he talks more about having to view the injustices done against black people, knowing that people identify him as white. Probably saying racist shit to him, not realizing that he is black.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping his album is about, and I will listen to it for that fact, for listening to that. And I've never heard any Logic a day in my life, but I'm planning on listening to this album just to find out if that's what he did with it. And if that's what he did, I would just quickly come to any interview and everything and apologize and salute him for being able to attack it from that angle.
That's what it is. OG Maco, always a pleasure, man.
Man, you know how I rock, Vlad.
You know?
Make sure you check out my show on Dash Radio, Quality Control Radio, and check me out on Revolt.
Yeah. So what are you doing for Revolt?
I'm creating content over there with Aaron. We're going through HR right now, so I can't tell you my official position just yet because we're going through finishing that. But I'm actually starting a documentary with Revolt called Black Lives Thrive, where I'll be going to different inner city neighborhoods and taking one of my artists, my painter, with me. He's a real life painter. He's amazing. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the landscape of the culture in each city, going from the neighborhoods where it's impoverished all the way up to the neighborhoods where it's a little bit more empowered, and looking at the black experience going through that from different cities. So we're talking about, the Midwest and going to New York, we're going to Miami. Of course, we're going back home to Atlanta. You can check out LA, going from South Central all the way up to Ladera Heights and shit like that. Yep. And we're going to have my painter paint a scene of it, and Revolt want to host town halls. And we want to make the black experience an experience instead of just the black experience. We want people to realize that there are so much and so many opportunities created black people, for positive means, instead of people just thinking of us as people who just promote violence and and denigration within our own culture. Yeah. That's what we want to do.
So what about your album?
My album, first off, that Black Phil Collins is fucking amazing. It's on iTunes, Spotify, it's on everything. And that was my response to being held back over and over and over.
But that's not your album.
No, still.
Because we were talking about your album last time.
Right.
Still not out yet.
Right? And it's not like the music isn't there or nothing. And I think that's another thing, too. People have not realized I cannot be who I want to be because all that music is after that album. So if the album doesn't come out, it hasn't came out, then what kind of understanding would you have? Look at the song I just dropped with DJ Snake, that fucking Move record. If Justin Bieber dropped that record, it'd be the fucking #1 record in the world. If Taylor Swift dropped the record, it'd be #1 record in the world. If goddamn Jedediah dropped that record, it'd be #1 record in the world.
Diplo also.
Right, I work with Diplo, I work with Skrillex.
Yep.
Right, if anybody else dropped these records, it'll be the biggest record in the world. But because of the connotation that is still attached to my name, from, you guessed it, no matter how much amazing music I make, no matter how much socially conscious music I make, I'm stuck in this fucking dope hole. And the only way to get out of it is for me to drop this album, and still, no album.
No album. I'm sure it's coming soon, man. I'm looking forward to it. My man.
My man, Vlad.